to answer. They have 2 minutes to speak for each question. And what? Okay. It's 2 minutes for the first question, then 1 minute for everybody.
Oh, good. Okay. Cool. No, Ben's time. What?
I'll be ready.
Okay. So what goes first? Okay. So you have a timer?
And for those of you who ask questions, you can see the leadership team in the back. I made some brownies, so you'll get a brownie.
Before we start, I just ask that everyone's respectful and doesn't talk while the candidates are speaking, so we can have a fair, efficient, political discussion.
So the first two questions are fairly brief. They were the questions for all candidates for all board positions. So the first one is, briefly explain, what is your vision and objective in running for the board? You want me to go first? Would you like me to repeat the question? I got it. Okay.
Hi. My vision for running for the board is to really improve communication. I think there were a lot of problems on campus this year with misunderstandings, and I think what I bring to the table is I'm a career journalist. I was one of the first women to be a sports writer here in the United States. I opened locker rooms for women and for all reporters for that matter. And I think what I bring to the table is the ability to really look at complex issues, break them down, and to really listen to what everybody has to say and help both sides see where we have common ground, and then find the area where we're comfortable moving. If I'm elected to the board, I really want to be your voice on the board, because I think a lot of times your voice may be absent from the discussions. I'm very student-centered, and I'd just be tickled if you vote for me for the board.
Hello. Well, first of all, I would like to thank you for coming and for your time, and I will promise you that if you elect me, if you vote for me, I will need more of your time and more of your support. Secondly, when people talk about their vision, they use only the best possible words to describe that vision. I've never heard of a candidate who would say, I have a poor vision, I don't have a vision, or my vision is very limited. So we all promise many different things, but if you think of the candidates whom you elected in the past, and how many times you heard from those candidates, you will understand that once people are elected, usually they forget about their constituency. I will not forget about my constituency, and for that I want to create a student advisory committee, which will consist of student natural leaders from different ethnic groups that constitute the school body. So in this manner, I will be able to communicate with many people, and they will be able to hear from me, and these people will help me formulate the ideas and needs that the student body wants to be discussed on the board. That's what I promise. And you will hear from me at least once a month.
So this is the second question. In making important decisions that impact the whole Pali community, how do you think the board should learn the views of each different stakeholder group, and what impact should those views have on the decisions the board makes?
Can I have it first? Well, this place exists not for teachers, as I wrote in my statement, and if you heard my statement, my video statement, you probably remember my words at the end of my statement. This school exists only for the sake of students. And if their voices are brushed off and disregarded, then there will be no reasonable and constructive communication between students, teachers, and administrators. We are all in the same game, and we all have to work together. And it is very important that we do it with respect for each person's opinion, and that we hear the voices that are upset about certain issues. We should not hush those matters under the carpet. We should put them on the table and discuss them openly. We should not be ashamed of those things. There is nothing wrong with discussing different matters and having different opinions. It's called American democracy.
Okay, I really believe in face-to-face communication, and I would plan on working a lot with the student senators you've already elected and visiting the various clubs. And being the Tideline advisor, I'm aware of a lot that's going on campus because I have all the student reporters are out there writing. And so the only thing I can promise you is that I'll listen to you. Those of you who know me know that I'm at school long hours. I'm usually here till 5 o'clock. You can always catch me at a basketball game. I have students talk to me as I'm walking across the quad. I'm very approachable. If you want to make an appointment with me, just shoot me an email. I even come back to school on Saturdays to meet with some students to help them do some things. So my goal would just be to talk to you face to face. If there is a survey, I would want to run that through leadership and work with leadership so we can make sure the questions were worded in a very clear way so you were clear about what you were answering.
Thank you both very much. Before we continue with questions that people in the audience have written down for us, I'd just like to remind people who came in late that in the back we have flashcards and pencils, and if you're interested in asking the candidates a question, please go back now and write down a question, and they'll come by, and we'll also collect it, and you can get a chance to have that question asked. We're picking these questions randomly and anonymously, and as long as they're appropriate, we'll make sure both candidates answer. We already have a few lined up, so we're going to start now. There's 1 minute for these questions.
What political experience do you have that you can apply to this position? How?
It is,
What political experience do you have that you can apply to this position, and how can you apply it?
is that me first?
Sure.
I actually started a union when I was 23 years old. I worked at a newspaper and I found out women were paid 60% of what men were paid. And so I organized a union. I contacted the National Organization of Women and the Newspaper Guild, and I'm responsible for the union shop being in place in the Daily News. I also have served as president of various media organizations, the Baseball Writers Association of America. I am a Hall of Fame voter for that organization, and the Association of Women in Sports Media. Here at Pali, I've accepted a lot of leadership responsibility. I'm the person who worked all summer writing the charter application so that we could keep our doors open, and that charter application was accepted and approved. I've served on a number of committees. I've been on budget, policy, and I worked on the academic achievement team last year, helping other teachers put writing projects in place in their classrooms and helping them with reading.
So as I understand, the question was about political experience, not academic experience. So in that respect, I can tell you that I was the first union rep of this school when it became charter, and I had to write the first contract, the first labor contract, which received my name. At that time, the first contract between a charter school administration and charter teachers or charter faculty was considered the best in the country, and it was considered the sample for this country. I was also an elected board member 5 years ago. I'm also head of the foreign language department, and I'm probably the person who wrote more letters about the issues that concern this school and that are interested, that students are interested in, than any other teacher in this school.
What did you think about the student protest over the bell schedule? Comment on its purpose and effectiveness.
I believe that each person who lives in this country has the right to exercise his or her opportunity to express his or her opinion, but it should be done in a peaceful manner, first of all, and in an organized manner. So by organized, I mean orderly. It shouldn't be done to disrupt a process. It shouldn't be done to do harm to any parties. In this case, I think it was a great demonstration of independent thinking students who were fighting the wrongdoing that the school administration insisted on. And there was no other way for the students to show that protest, and that's why they needed to resort to it. And I salute them. I said about that in my statement.
I would have liked to seen the protest a little better organized. I think we could have used Schoology and some other tools out there, because there were a lot of kids who were out there who really didn't know why they were out there. And the fact that you were out there, I think some of your teachers gave you misinformation or told you half the story. But by the time your protest took place, the bell schedule that you were protesting was already pretty much off the table. The teachers had resoundingly rejected it, and it was never going to go into place. So I'd like to work with you to make sure that you understand the issues and that you understand your rights on campus. We definitely have the right to protest, and I'd like to get you organized so that we can exercise our rights. We have Tinker versus Des Moines. It's the Supreme Court case guiding us, and I'd like to keep us in bounds.
What will you do to ensure that the students' voices are heard?
Gosh, listen to me. I really want to get the feedback from you about the issues, and as you can tell, I'm not shy about speaking at all. And I don't mind taking a contrary point of view. So if your point of view is counter to that of other people, I don't mind representing that point of view at all. As you might imagine, for most of my life, I've been doing things that people didn't think a woman should do. And so I know how to stand up for myself. If I stand up for myself, I certainly can stand up for you, because the only reason I'm here is for you.
Standing up for someone's interests and ideas is wishful thinking, in my opinion, unless it has concrete steps and concrete measures. So in that respect, I will organize an advisory committee that will consist of students representing every ethnic group in this school. I will go once a month to the meeting of the school senate, and I will ask them to answer my questions and to answer their questions. So I will also ask them for the input that would be important for the board members to hear from the student body. I will make myself available to any students and all students once a month in my classroom if they want to discuss any issues or even personal matters. Besides, I will, if I'm allowed, of course, because the administration may not do that, I will make weekly announcements on the PA system about the development on the board.
How do you plan on tackling injustices that students face daily? How do you plan on tackling injustices that students face daily?
Well, first of all, I'm not a court judge, and that's why I cannot tackle those injustices on a daily basis. There is a process, and students may grieve, and students may apply to different instances. They can talk to their teachers, they can talk to their representative on the board, they can talk to the administrators. People are not evil in this school. People make mistakes. People are selfish. This is true. And they want more for themselves than for the others. But there is nothing new in this. But we as a group, and it's a very big group of almost 3,000 people, can make proof that we are the fourth with which they need, or which they need to take into account. And if they brush us off, they need to feel wrong, and they feel wrong, and they know that. That's why they changed the idea of the schedule. That's why it's no longer on the table. And it's only because students got united and demonstrated their unity and their protest on the quad. And I thank you for that, because without you...
Sorry, that's time.
Okay.
Hi. I think I can do what I always do, which is to really listen to what you're saying and closely listen to what you're saying, and then help you walk through the problem. If there are resources here on campus, I'll direct you to them, and I'll walk over with you to put the plan in place or to lodge the complaint. I also think that really, at the bottom line is we need to talk and communicate. And I'm just a real believer. My kids know I make brownies. I make brownies all the time. I always bake things, and those little sweet treats are just a way for us to come together so we can talk about what's really important to us. And I think the best thing that I can say I'm going to do is I'm going to listen to you. And I think a lot of times people don't hear you. You can rest assured that I really do hear your complaints. I volunteer to teach the classes with the toughest kids who probably have the most problems, and I am their advocate on campus.
What, in your opinion, do the students at the school care about the most, and how will you address it?
Gosh, what you guys care about most? I can't answer that because everybody cares about something differently. If I'm on basketball, I probably care most about basketball. But as a general rule, I think the students care about being in a safe place. I think we're fortunate that we live on one of the safest campuses in Los Angeles. I think students care about whether or not they're getting what's due to them, which is a quality education. And students care about coming together and celebrating Pali. But to say that all students care about the same exact thing, I'm not sure I can answer that. I just have to talk to the individual student and see what he or she cares about.
At this stage of young lives, people may care about different things, and they have different ideas about different aspects of life. But what unites them is this school. This is the place where they spend most of their time. And that's the only place that unites them. And whether this place functions properly or not, either unites them or divides them. And I think that if we function properly, there will be no division. We will be united. We will be united in one goal. This is the goal, that this school should provide quality education and that people should feel that they are at home here, because it's not a strange place. It's another warm place where they can feel comfortable, whether they are tall, short, fat, thin, it doesn't matter. All of them should feel comfortable here, and they should know that people who work here care about them.
Although this may be a little bit repetitive, we're just trying to get through everyone's questions, so it's fair. Are you or are you not in support of a bell schedule change, and why?
I'm strongly opposed to this idea. I think that we have had a very functional schedule for many, many years that proved its efficiency. I don't know why we need to change everything in this school just because one principal is in favor of her idea. I don't understand why we need to accommodate the interests of a certain person or a certain group here at the expense of thousands of voices who were brushed off, ignored, and never heard. And so in this case, I think that it was a terrible idea.
It's hard for me to say about the bell schedule because I have to hear the reasons why we want to change the bell schedule. I mean, if they want to let us out 10 minutes earlier, maybe that's a change too. And so before I make a decision about the bell schedule, I have to get all the information. If somebody feels so strongly about changing the bell schedule, this is a lot of work. I don't think these things are done arbitrarily or for no reason. I want to listen to the reasons and see if we can't come together to get a bell schedule that works better for all of us. For instance, I know traffic's worse on Thursday. For our traveling students, the bell schedule is horrible for them for getting to and from campus on a Thursday. We have kids getting home as late as 8 o'clock at night on the buses. So I'm all for listening to a bell schedule and working towards something that works better for students.
How can we be assured that you will listen to the student body opinion once elected?
I believe I've already answered that question. This is what I tried to do. There has been no committee consisting of students who would advise the representative on the board. And I will try to form such a committee, and students will bring their feedback from their friends and their own ideas. We will sit down, we'll discuss what I should bring up on the agenda of the board meeting, and then I will insist that all these issues be included in the agenda.
I'm going to do what I always do. I'm not on the board right now, but the leadership kids will tell you I've been by their class quite a few times just to talk to them to see what's going on. I go to sporting events, I go to the drama events, my door's always open. It's going to stay that way. So for me, there's not a big change. It's just that I wanted to go onto the board just because I think there's been some misinformation and miscommunication, and that's why I wanted to go onto the board. Plus, you guys nominated me.
If you do get elected, what will the start of your impact be on the school? So what's going to be your first action?
my first action. We're going to be here this summer, and I'm actually going to spend some time with Evan Holland, who is the student representative on the board, so that we can get on the same page. We'll go to a board training together, and really my job will be just to work closely with Evan so that we can make sure, because I have the vote, but Evan is on the board also. He has a voice. Both of us have a voice. I think my job is just to make sure we're on the same page and to set up, meet with him to set up a schedule that works for us, and to come up with ideas on how we can get feedback from everyone.
Right now, I cannot promise you anything because one person voice is not really determining the outcome of the final. I presented my program. I have 6 items on the statement. The first thing will probably be the problem with the voices of our student body. Because our student body is not heard. The student who came into my room a few days ago with a petition, who had already collected over 1,000 signatures, asked my permission to gather signatures from my students, and it was a break time, and I said, please talk to my students. Later, I was accused of accommodating her needs by the administration, but the administration accused me of many things now because they know how undesirable my presence on the board is. The first item will be, if there is such an important issue that bothers so many people in this school, then the issue should be addressed first, not the presence of the student in my room.
This exact question is, what is your take on our current administration? Just so this isn't a complete attack on the admin, if you don't agree with some of the actions, tell us how you would better communicate with the administration and how, what actions you would take.
I don't think it's for me to improve communication with the administration. I think it's for the administration to improve their communication with all of us. They didn't hear us for 7 months until you helped us. And you helped us tremendously, because after people walk out, suddenly they found money to raise our salaries. Suddenly, they decided not to insist on the schedule. This is their problem. It's not our problem. We voiced our concerns. They brushed them off time and again. So it's for them to improve their communication, not for us.
I really believe in face-to-face communication, and I think all too often that we've relied on surveys, and a lot of times you guys don't even get the information, or you get misinformation and people get upset. So what I'd like to do is to ask the principal to set aside time every month for a student roundtable. We can meet at lunch in a venue such as this. The principal would be here, I'll be here, Evan will be here, and any student who wants to come to talk to the principal could be here. But I think we need to set aside time at lunch so you can feel like you're part of the process and that she does hear you.
So now we're going to hear your closing statements. I am going to read Ms. Ackerman's written statement that she emailed to me. Ms. Ackerman is the 3rd candidate running for this position. She's in Bhutan right now, so she couldn't be here today, but I'm going to read her closing statement. It is time for a change. It is time to create opportunities for student involvement, to jettison the Pali experience to be the best. It is time for students to feel empowered to increase communication with administrators and teachers by inquiring into effective and ineffective practices to enhance the learning experience. It is time to embrace personal responsibility to inspire oneself as life unfolds. As a health educator teacher for 17 years and an expert in human behavior, that is the vision I will bring to the board on behalf of students. It is time for a new future. That was Ms. Ackerman's closing statement.
I just want to say that I think people here don't have trouble talking, but a lot of people sometimes have trouble listening. So I'd really like to work on bringing us together simply by learning how to listen to each other and respectfully have dialogue. The only reason I'm running for the board is, frankly, I've turned down the nomination many years, but this year there were so many problems on campus that stemmed from misunderstandings that I felt like it was time for me to step up, to be the person who really looks at something from 25,000 feet in the air, as I'm trained as a journalist to do, to separate out emotion from the issues, to listen and to facilitate communication. So I hope I can count on your vote. If not, you're always free to come by my room anyway. I'm always here for you, whether I'm on the board or not.
Well, first of all, I'm very thankful to Ms. Ackerman because she's not here and she gave us more time for our responses. Secondly, I'm very thankful to my contender, Ms. Saxon, for her responses that cannot match mine. And thirdly, I am thankful for your presence here and for your questions. I can tell you that my presence in this school doesn't need any credentials because my presence is my credential. And I've been heard all these years, throughout many, many years. If you elect me, you will empower my voice, and it will be even louder. Thank you for coming.